conversation about FOMO. FOMO being the fear of missing out, right? The fear that, somehow with my money, if I don't spend it on this or I don't spend it on that, I'm going to be missing something. I'm telling you now, guys, the fear of missing out or FOMO contributes to a lot of people's financial problems, right? A lot of people's financial difficulties, and this is one of the reasons why you keep having or feeling this cycle of not being able to get out of the rat race, right? Not being able to get ahead with your money. A lot of it is based on FOMO, fear of missing out. So I just want to have a quick talk. One of the reasons I always talk about this, or one of the reasons I want to address it now, is because I keep running into younger people. And when I say younger people, it really is not really younger, but 25 to 45 seems to be the real big age for this. But we also see this with the 50-year-olds and older too, but not as much. But the fear of missing out is like, I got this money in my pocket. I gotta do something with it. What should I do with it? How can I make this money double and triple this money fast as possible? It's this whole fear of missing out, and I think it's keeping a lot of people in this cycle of feeling poor, right? For several reasons. I'm going to talk about them on this quick video, kind of why I see it all the time with people that are saying, man, I'm doing real well, but I just can't get out of this cycle of poverty because I got this credit card, I got that credit card, I had to go buy this, it's like there's a big, I went to took a trip, vacation, there's a big fear of missing out. One of the things, let's just jump right into it. One of the things is impulse spending, right? See, FOMO, or fear of missing out, drives people to sort of spend money on things they don't necessarily need, right? Just because they see other people with it, I gotta have it. Like the latest gadgets, right? Think about, gotta have the latest iPhone, gotta have the latest shoes, gotta have the latest purse or whatever, latest vacation. And when you think like that, it's going to prevent you from saving and investing the money that you need to invest, because the fear of missing out has grabbed a hold of you. Now you got to go spend, right? So the fear of missing out because of this impulse spending sort of gets you trapped, right? You no longer have patience. You don't have patience to wait on something. You can't say, well, I'm gonna wait a couple of months and see if I still want it, or I'm gonna save up a couple of months. You can't, or you have a hard time telling yourself no, right? Because you got this FOMO happening. Let me see what you guys, who's in the chat. Let me look at it on here. Hey, happy Sunday to you too. Mrs. Moore's in the house. Good to have you here. This whole fear of you wanting what you want right now, or you feeling like I deserve it, so I'm going to go out and get it because look, I work hard. So you start, listen, let's go back to impulse buying. Think about this. If you have Amazon dropping off boxes at your door 4 or 5 times a week, you might have a fear of missing out. There's a reason why QVC is still in business and going strong, because people sit at home or they sit on their phones and they got to tap that Amazon button. They got to buy that jewelry they see on QVC, on the QVC television station. Advertisers, they play on this impulse buying that you have. You have this fear that I need to go ahead and get that. Oh, that's on sale. Oh, let me get that. I need to hurry and get that. It's a fear of missing out that causes you to impulse spend quite a bit, right? By the way, guys, happy Sunday to you. I didn't greet you properly, but happy Sunday to all of you guys in the chat. How's it going? Willie YOLO. We got Warrant is checking in from Germany, all the way from Germany. Good to have you here. Thank you for being here. Appreciate it so much. Sharice, good to have you from B More, Baltimore. Park Heights. No, you may not be from Park Heights in Baltimore, but good to have you here. But I just had this, I sort of had an impulse to have a conversation about fear of missing out, because I've had a couple of conversations recently with some people, and they were just kind of like, oh man, I gotta, how do you get over this fear of missing out? And this is what the questions people ask me. I say, listen, slow down. You got to get rid of this impulse buying. Here's a few other things that we talk about. Okay, here's another thing. Here's another problem with FOMO, a problem with fear of missing out. It stops you from having long-term thinking with money. See, when it comes to money, if you're not thinking long-term, and that's a problem because you want this immediate gratification, right? So instead of saving for emergencies, you say, no, I got to go ahead and invest that money right now. I got to go pick up some Nvidia right now. I got to go pick up some Broadcom right now. I got to go pick up this stock because you don't see the big picture. You don't see down the road. It's all about short-term pleasures. And if you constantly trying to satisfy short-term pleasures, you're not going to understand and get to the right place you want to be at in the long term with your money. So people that really do well with money and build wealth, because remember, they call it building wealth because you got to build that thing up, right? You can't just jump into it. So one of the big issues or problems that people that can't build wealth or have a hard time building wealth is that they don't have vision, right? They're usually they usually don't have the ability to see something that's not right in front of their eyes, right? That's no vision. So when you have this fear of missing out, you're looking at what's right in front of your eyes. You're not looking down the road. And see, the problem with not looking down the road is that everything you do today is going to be for today. As opposed to thinking in your brain, everything I do today or a lot of the stuff I do today needs to be for tomorrow, right? Because you have this fear of missing out, it causes you to see only what you can see as opposed to having vision for what you can't see. And that hurts you in the long run. Because look, most of us, not all of us, right? But most of us, we're going to be around in 20 years. But if you keep giving into this fear of missing out, that's a never-ending perpetual circle of a hamster wheel. And it doesn't really do anything for you 10 and 20 years down the road, but it does something for you 10 to 20 minutes down the road, which is the problem, right? The other thing about fear of missing out or FOMO is that it's sort of, in my opinion, it's sort of like a kind of a gambling type of spirit or hustling type of spirit, right? It's like you're not really measuring risk properly. It's like you pushing all your chips into the table and say it right. Listen, the person who works off of FOMO lives off of YOLO. You see what I'm saying? So the person that says has the fear of missing out, their motto is you only live once, right? As you only live once means, hey, YOLO. So that means, hey, you got to get out there and get it right now. Don't wait. Don't be patient. Don't think about the long term. Don't strategize. Don't invest for the future because guess what? You got to have it right now. So the FOMO person is living off the motto of YOLO, right? Fear of missing out leads to you only live once, right? Which leads to really bad money decisions. Look good right now, cool right now, satisfies me right now. Yes, I need it right now. But guess what? 6 months down the road, the $2,000 you spent on the trip was $2,000 that could have been gaining compound interest, right? The $5,000, the $10,000, right? The $15,000 that you just went and dropped on that $30,000 car. That 15, you already had a car that was cool and working, but you had to go have that $30,000 car and you dropped 15,000. That 15 could have been working for you in VOO or in VGT or in SCHD, ETF, investments, and could have been gaining compound interest, but instead you went to go put it on the car because look, it looked good, gotta have that Lexus, right? I mean, think about it. Think about this too. A lot of people that succumb to this fear of missing out, they sort of have to use debt to do it, right? There's no other better way to satisfy your fear of missing out by dropping that payment on the credit card. No big deal. I'll pay it later, right? Credit cards are like the main tool of the person that has fear of missing out. Because again, impulse. Credit card allows you to do anything you want to do within reason with money off of impulse. Quick thinking, not thinking it through, not thinking about risk. Oh my goodness. I see them Jordans. Oh, right. People do like this. Oh, let me go get them Jordans real quick. I drop it on the credit card because the credit card is the tool of the FOMO person, right? The credit card is just a line of credit that you can use. You ain't got to have the money. And if you ain't got to have the money and you're a person that gives in to impulse spending, guess what? Amazon's going to be at your door 5 or 6 days a week, right? And it's easy to accumulate debt, right? Which obviously debt on things going down in value with high interest rates and payments makes it harder to escape the cycle of poverty, the cycle of being poor. That's why FOMO is keeping a lot of people poor, right? Here's the big one. Let me go to the big one. The big one. Somebody said Uber Eats. Okay, I think I can see you better than over here. Uber Eats, invest now. I drop it on Nike stock. Nike stock. I'm not a fan of Nike stock, to be honest with you. I own the shirt, but I don't own Nike stock. But anyway, this is the big one. This is the big problem with fear of missing out. It's all about the peer pressure. It's all about comparison. Listen, they say that comparison is the thief, what is it? The thief of joy. But I say comparison is really the thief of wealth. When you start to compare with what other people got, you trying to, you see they got this and they got that. And you say, you know what? I'm going to go out and get me boom, 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 boom. And listen, you might say to yourself, I don't do that. But there's a lot of people that do that. It may not be you, but it happens. And matter of fact, if it's not you, I bet you know people who do that. Guys, do me a favor and hit the thumbs up button for me. Also, maybe you need to shoot this link out to this video to somebody who you know is an impulse person who always is at the beck and call of the fear of missing out philosophy of life, right? The YOLO philosophy of life. Maybe you need to send this link to them. But constantly comparing yourself to other people creates pressure, creates stress, creates debt, creates a cycle of poverty that you can't escape, right? Creates you living beyond your means, right? Spending more than you can afford, right? Stopping you from being able to save and invest more money. Why does this? Here's why fear of missing out is such a big deal nowadays. Listen, we really did. Okay, fear of missing out was an issue 50, 40 years ago. Let's say 30 years ago, because I was around 30 years ago, right? I was 20 years old, a little over 20 years old, 30 years ago. So 30 years ago, fear of missing out was out there, right? But it wasn't out there nearly as much because I didn't have anything to compare to other than the people who was around me, right? My peers and the people who were around me was who I was comparing myself to 30 years ago. The deal today is that today you get to compare yourself with everybody in the world just about because you got the internet, you got social media, you got Instagram. 3 or 3.5 billion people or something. I don't know how many people. 3.5, 4 billion people on Facebook or on Instagram, right? Or maybe less than that on Instagram. But you get to compare yourself and your situation to millions and billions of people every single day because you got YouTube, you got Google, you got Facebook, you got social media all over the place, right in your hand. I didn't have that 30 years ago. So FOMO was me saying, I'm doing pretty well because I look around me and I got a homeless guy over here. I look around me, I had the wino over here. I look around me, I got the person over here struggling. I got the person over here, no college degree. I'm sitting over saying, okay, I'm doing pretty well. I'm out here doing pretty well. I had a lot of easy to get self-confidence. But guess what? Today, in the day of social media, it's too easy to get depressed. It's too easy to get down. It's too easy to be mad at yourself. It's too easy to beat yourself up for mistakes because you are scrolling and you're scrolling and you're scrolling on social media and you're watching everybody else who you think is balling, and you think and you compare yourself to them. You compare yourself to the ESPN highlights of life that you find on social media, right? Right? That would be like me watching highlights of basketball on ESPN and then going out there and looking at my game on the court and saying, man, I ain't living up. I see the highlights on ESPN, dunking, pass behind the back, right? Knocking down three after three after three. And I look at and then I compare that to me on the basketball court. I say, man, go ahead and film me on the basketball court for this next 2 games, right? So I'm filming myself. Then I go back and look at my tape. And then I go look at the tape on ESPN that I saw. I'm comparing. And what happens if I compare the way I played ball to what the highlights was, I'm going to be upset. I'm going to be depressed. I'm going to be mad at myself. I'm going to be thinking, I can do more. I can achieve more. I can be better. Sounds good, but it's going to cause stress. It's going to cause depression. It's going to cause me to be upset at myself. This is what happens to people's finances, right? This is why you have the fear of missing out, because you are comparing yourself consistently, constantly, daily to everything you see on the internet, right? Your brain, when you constantly watch everybody's life on the internet, your brain fools you. Your subconscious in your brain thinks, okay, they're living their best life, because you got tricked into the fact that you saw one person with every scroll, but your brain says everybody is living good, because your brain fools you into thinking that everybody's living good because you saw a bunch of highlights in a row of 30 different people's life that was the best part of their life. And so your brain tricks you. Nobody really talks a lot about this, but it happens. I don't think I've read an article about the fact, maybe there's articles out there about how the brain, when you looking at social media, can trick you. But I notice it because I talk to and mentor and coach a lot of people about their personal finances, and many of them are doing just wonderful. But those same people, they think they're not doing well when they're doing great. And part of it is because they're being tricked by social media. They're looking at video after video after video on YouTube and comparing themselves to what they see, not realizing that it's causing them to have a fear of missing out, FOMO. And then you start acting out of what you think, because everything you do with money starts in your brain. So how you think is how you're going to behave, and your behavior is going to dictate the outcomes. So your thoughts lead to the outcomes that you have with money. And if you constantly in poverty, constantly poor, the first thing you got to do is you got to think different. When you start to think different, you behave different. When you behave different, the outcomes are different with your money, right? But you cannot be on the internet falling for the bling bling, falling for the shiny new toy that you got to get, falling for the comparisons to other people's life. Forget their life. You live your life and do the best you can with your life and get out of. I'm going to talk about a few things. I took a few notes over here. I'm going to mention a few things that I want you to think about as far as how to avoid the fear of missing out. But you end up missing investment opportunities when you always give in to this you only live once fear of missing out way of thinking. In other words, sometimes FOMO makes you avoid invest, or it makes you not invest money that could be growing for you, as I said earlier, right? You want the vacation instead of the investment. You want the purse instead of the investment. You want the shoes instead of the investment, right? You want the experience instead of investing, right? So you spend money on all these things because you think, man, I got to get the latest this, I got to get the latest that. Oh, I got to, and we do this, we don't do this consciously, right? But what happens is you spend money instead of putting money to work for you in the future. You sort of forfeit your future for your pleasure today. You forfeit your future investment, future wealth to have it today, right? You got to be really careful about the fear of missing out, right? It can really trap you into a cycle of being poor, a cycle of financial instability, right? Let me talk about how to get over it. Let me just see what you guys are talking about in the boom. Social media is a drug. Yes, social media is a drug. Social media is a there's certain what's the hormone that's released, right, when you get on social media and you're looking at social media and you get the attention that you want from the picture that you posted, right? It's some type of it gives you a kind of a rush, right? And a lot of times people are addicted to it. They wake up, first thing they do, they barely open their eyes, they scrolling, right? You probably should be thanking God when you open your eyes that you were able to open your eyes, because a lot of people didn't wake up today. So first things first, right? Let's put the whole thing in perspective. Social media can wait an hour or 2 hours. Let's start thanking God for being alive, because we didn't have to be here today. We didn't have to be among the living when we woke up. That start being grateful. Open your day up with some gratefulness instead of opening your day up with social media, right? Focus on your goals. Focus on what you have. This is why it's so important to do a plan or a strategy, and most people don't do it. But if you have a strategy, you got a roadmap. If you got a strategy, you got guardrails. If you got a strategy, you got what to do and what not to do. If it don't fit in your strategy, don't do it. If it fits in, cool, let's work with it. You have some direction with your finances, with your life, with your money, right? So focus on your goals and your plan and your strategy, right? And then, like somebody said, limit social media, right? Social media don't do nothing but amplify, blow up your whole idea of fear of missing out, right? Limit limit yourself on social media. Maybe you need to say, hey, look, I'm gonna limit myself to an hour a day for a week, and let's see how that works out. An hour and a half or 2 hours a day for the next month, the month of September coming up. Whatever. Limit when you start limiting yourself to social media, limiting the social media, it can have a positive effect on your mood. It can have a positive effect on how you feel about your personal finances when you're not constantly having to compare it with somebody else or see other people doing what they're doing, right? Here's another one that I like. Instead of going with the fear of missing out, how about you try and you flip that thing on his end, on his head, and how about you embrace the idea of the joy of missing out? See, sometimes instead of having the fear of missing out, gotta have it. How about the joy of letting everybody do what they do? Don't trip on it. Go ahead. I don't care. I got my plan. I'm cool, right? This is one of the reasons why really I don't like to watch the news, right? And a lot of times, to be honest with you, I'm gonna be honest with you, I could tell you something really strange. But a lot of times, I don't even like to get the weather report. I don't like to watch the weather unless it's something really dangerous, right? If it's really dangerous or tornadoes or something, that's cool. But and or could for some of you could be hurricane. But sometimes, me personally, I don't even like to know what the weather is. Because if I know that it's 98 degrees, it's going to feel hotter outside. If I know that the temperature's bucko 2, or if I know that the temperature's down to 15 degrees today, then I'm going to be thinking, I'm gonna wear a coat, but I'm gonna be thinking it's a lot cold. I'll be the knowing a lot of that stuff plays with your brain, right? So sometimes I don't want to know what the weather is. I don't watch the news. I haven't watched the news, the local news, in years and years and years. Not for weather, not for sports, not for any of that stuff. I'll get my news on the AP or other places online, but I don't watch the local news on TV. Haven't done that in years. Sometimes there's joy in missing out on all of the stuff going on in the world. It's peace sometimes, right? Sometimes it's just peace, being able to say, okay, I can't fix the whole world. I'm not responsible for everything going on out there, all the crazy this, the crazy that, the people fighting online, the people, whatever it could be. I'm not responsible for that. So guess what? There's joy in missing out as opposed to fear of missing out. You see how you can kind of, in your brain, start to kind of flip that thing on its end? Again, I mentioned gratitude, right? Practice more gratitude. And it can help you focus. It can help you focus more and get out of this whole fear of missing out, right? Being just more thankful for what you have and so forth. Instead of worrying about what you don't have, be grateful for what you do have, right? Just a thought. It's just some things to help you out. Maybe you help people. Maybe here's a good one. Maybe instead of focusing on what you're missing, you start giving and helping to more people more regularly, right? Make sure you spend, not just give something of money to other people to help them out, but how about spending some time and some energy helping other people out? Whatever you can do. I'm just trying to give you ways to get out of this whole fear of this whole FOMO, right? Obviously, learn to say no. Obviously, practice saying no. Not just to other people. Nah, I can't go out today. Or I can't go out to eat. No, I'm not going to go to that restaurant. And yeah, you celebrating, but I'm on a budget. Yeah, you celebrating, but I only got an extra $30. And an entree at that restaurant that you chose is $70. I'm cool. No. But tell no to yourself. Tell yourself no. Be able to say, hey, maybe I can use the 30-day rule when it comes to a large purchase that I don't necessarily need but want, right? Maybe you can not order on Amazon for 2 weeks. Maybe you can take and say, I'm going to go 2 months with no orders on QVC, right? When you practice telling yourself no, what you're doing is you're practicing discipline. And you ain't building wealth if you don't have discipline, flat out. You're not building wealth if you don't have the ability to tell yourself no, right? I don't need that. Let me wait on that, right? Listen, I'm not telling you to be some miser who sits in a cardboard box and doesn't spend any money. I'm telling you to be wise. This is wisdom, right? Discipline. This is going to help you get over the fear of missing out. And here's where the fear of missing out really comes in for a lot of people, especially on this channel. Investing in the stock market. Investing in the I got to get there. I got to do it. I got listen. Stocks will be there tomorrow when you get out of debt. The stock market will be there'll be deals you can have in the stock market next year. There will be deals in the stock market in 6 months. Relax. It ain't going nowhere, right? It's not going nowhere. Get your money right. Get your emergency fund together, right? Get your debt paid off, your bad debt. Get that stuff paid off. Then come on over here. We'll still be in the stock market. There'll still be deals. I remember as a real estate person investing in real estate back in the day, I would always run into people and say, man, I gotta get this real estate. I gotta get this real estate. And I said, wait, just chill. Wait for the right deal because there's always deals in real estate. Always. Sometimes there's better deals than others, right? But there's always a good deal in real estate because there's always a motivated seller looking to sell a house or looking to sell an apartment complex, looking to sell a commercial building or looking to sell a warehouse. It's always going to be out there. Don't jump out there in the real estate market because you have a fear of missing out. Because a fear of missing out, fear is what? Fear is an emotion. And whenever you involve money plus emotions, usually equals bad decisions. So you want to get away from the emotion of fear. And fear of missing out will cause you to make very, very, very poor financial decisions that will keep you poor, right? So the other thing you can do to get away from the fear of missing out is surround yourself with like-minded people, guys, right? So, I'm going to be honest with you. When you're building wealth and you're trying to get better with your money, there's some people that they're just not going to be able to come along with you on that journey, flat out. There's some people that are just not going to be able to be there. You got to sort of trim the fat, so to speak, off the edges of your journey, right? Some people just won't be able to be there with you. They won't come along. They'll see you getting better and better with your money going up that mountain, and they will be stuck down at the bottom of the mountain. And guess what they'll do? They'll try to pull you back down. Come on, let's go. You know you want to go over here and take this vacation to to Greece, to Turks and Caicos. You know you want to go to Turks and Caicos. We talked about it for years. Let's go on this trip to Turks and Caicos. Come on, we gonna have fun. We gonna kick it, whatever. And they're gonna try to pull you back to where they are. You say, nah, I'm working on my finances. I know it's gonna take at least $2,500, $3,000 to have fun. But guess what? I'm working on something right now. And they see you going up the mountain. Look, people that ain't going nowhere in life, they want you to go with them. That's their biggest goal, is to have you go with them. You got to have discipline to cut off the people who ain't where you're going to go. I'm not saying you got to be mean, you got to be rude, you got to be disrespectful, none of that. But you just got to sort of surround yourself with the right people who are going to maybe have a different influence on you. Let's put it like that. The other thing, we're talking about getting over fear of missing out. Start finding ways to enjoy the little things, right? The little things with a little bit of money. Start finding ways to enjoy a lot of life with a little bit of money, right? If you could get that in your spirit, it'll make you a more frugal person and make you a more responsible person with your money. Find ways to enjoy a lot of life with a little bit of money. Stop always having to spend a bunch of money to enjoy a lot of life. That will keep you in the doghouse, right? But that's how you can get over this fear of missing out. So you know what? I don't need to buy the new Jordans. I don't need to buy the latest iPhone. I'm cool with this version that was 2 or 3 generations back. Just enjoy the little things. Don't worry about trying to always have the latest, flashiest, or the newest, whatever, right? I just wanted to give you guys why the fear of missing out is keeping a lot of people poor. It's keeping you poor. Whether you can admit it or don't admit it, right? I see it, and I get these questions all the time. How do you get over the fear of missing out? I hope I was able to give you guys something of value. Let me go back here and check this. People need to create a vision for their household. Kimmy, you ain't said nothing but a word, Kimmy. Absolutely. Absolutely. Appreciate that. Guys, you got to do me a favor. Hit the like button on this video for me. Hit the like button on there. Just take out 2 seconds and tap that thing for me. Smash it if you can. Listen, I don't want to hold you long. It's a beautiful Sunday. I want you to get out there, walk, get your exercise in, do what you got to do, enjoy your day to day. I just wanted to drop this quick message on you to say, hey, the fear of missing out, it'll get you if you're not careful. Hope I gave you some ways to think about it, and maybe some things you can do to get over this FOMO, right? This fear of missing out. Hey, if you got any value, please share this information with somebody. If you rewind this to the beginning, if you're just getting in here, and if you've been in here a while and you think this can help somebody you know, right? Could be a nephew, a niece, an uncle, an aunt, your mama, right? Your father, your sister, brother, maybe some friends, or just maybe you have a social media that you can post this information to. This is just real information that a lot of us need to hear, right? So I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mrs. Moore and Brad, and I appreciate you, Kimmy Apple, and Black Gal, appreciate you. Thank you so much. JT in the house, JT Coin Rings, appreciate it. Thank you so much for the super chat. Appreciate you rocking with me, man. Hey, listen, as I always say, the best person who's going to take care of the old you is the young you. Guys, take good care of yourself. Take care of other people. Until the next video. Peace.